What's up, everybody, and welcome to a special, let's call it a mini episode of Next Gen Newsweek. Due to scheduling conflicts, we're not able to all be here today. Just how things work sometimes whenever you don't do this as a full-time career. But there's something very important and exciting that's happening this afternoon, which is there's a Nintendo Direct, which we haven't had in quite some time. So thought it'd be kind of fun to sit down and, think about some exciting things we could see at this Nintendo Direct, go over some rumors of things that are supposedly going to be there, and then of course get your opinions in the comments about what you think is going to be there, and if you are watching this after the Nintendo Direct is aired, we'll see how much stuff I actually got right, and what you're most excited for that's coming out of this. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you can see our full recap and discussion of everything that was shown off in the Nintendo Direct, which will be coming out either later this evening or tomorrow. Let's go ahead and just start with the big one. We know that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is going to be here. To what extent, don't really know. There's a possibility that they could be saving all of the Zelda stuff for its own Direct coming in a couple weeks from now, maybe even a month, who knows. But if they decide not to go that route and they're gonna show everything off in this Direct, I think we're finally gonna get a story trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. Finally figure out what's going on with this game. Like, are you going to actually get to play as Link and Zelda? What's going on with Zelda? Is Ganondorf actually the big bad that we keep seeing? Or is it some other person that this kind of resembles Ganondorf, I think we're also going to see a Switch OLED model come out. I don't know if the one that was shown off in leaks earlier this year, or was that last year? Now I can't keep track of time. But I don't know if that was the real one, or there's another one that's coming. I kind of hope that the one that was leaked is not it, because it looked cool, but it also didn't look cool with the little green stuff on the side of it. And I hope that there is a collector's edition. I was able to get like the deluxe version of Breath of the Wild, but not the one that came with like the statue. And I hope that I get another chance to get something really cool from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom with some statue or whatever they decide to do with it. I think it'd be really cool to have something like that. So I think if we get Tears of the Kingdom stuff in this Nintendo Direct, I hope we get a lot of stuff and not just, oh, here we go, here's a trailer, we'll see you in May, and there is no special Direct happening later on. Like, give us more than just a trailer, Next up, let's talk about one of Richard's favorite games. Richard's not here to express his thoughts on it, but Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. It was supposed to come out a year ago now. Due to the conflict happening over in Ukraine and Russia, they decided to delay it, which was understandable at the time, but this has been going on for over a year now. Other games that are relatively similar to Advanced Wars, maybe like other strategy games or several other shooter type games that are way more realistic, have all released, and no one's really given anybody any flack over it. So I think it's time for Nintendo to release Advanced Wars. There's been a long rumor that Advanced Wars is going to be shadow dropping on the Switch either today or by the end of this week, which when I told Richard this, you would think he would have been really excited about it, but actually he's upset because he just spent $80 to play Hogwarts Legacy earlier, and now he didn't have time to play Advanced Wars, so he doesn't want them to release it this early. But I guess he wants them to, but he didn't have time to play it. But I think it'd be really cool if they did show up with a shadow drop like that and say, okay, well, this is a really nice surprise. If not a shadow drop, I think it'll be out by, we'll say, the end of April. Maybe they need to line it up properly, but that should be coming in the next couple of months. That's something really to look forward to. One of the very few games we actually still know that Nintendo's working on that we need to know more information about is Pikmin 4. And I'm not a Pikmin guy. I can't really sit here and talk to you much about stuff with Pikmin or what new features they should add or they should show off or anything like that. That's not my type of game. But I do think that they are going to pull up with probably like a summer release date. It seems like a really nice summer game to get out there. If I had to pick, I'd say probably August, maybe. But excited for Pikmin fans who have been waiting for this game since it was announced for the Wii U back in like 2012. So looking forward to those people being able to play this game finally. And then after that, you really start getting into, predictions and speculation. There's not really much to go on here. Just kind of looking at trends and stuff that we want to see show up, but we have there's no evidence or anything like that. There's always been, in the back of everyone's mind, there has been the Metroid HD collection or Metroid Prime HD collection or remaster trilogy that has supposedly been done for years, and they've been waiting to release it for whenever they needed it to. And that's fine if that's what they need to do. They apparently held Fire Emblem Engage for an entire year also before they released it, so Nintendo has done this kind of stuff in the past. But this started off as a Metroid Prime trilogy. Supposedly now it's just a remake of the first Metroid Prime game. Either way, I think it'd be fun to get a new first-person shooter from Nintendo on their platform, especially since you can actually play this like a first-person shooter now instead of having to use motion controls. So that seems really nice. They did whatever team that they used for the Skyward Sword HD collection where you didn't have to use motion controls and you could use the twin sticks. I think they did a pretty good job with that, so maybe they do something similar with Metroid Prime so you don't have to use motion controls for that. This next one is right up my alley because I'm not a Mario sports gamer. I'll play them occasionally just to check them out and everything. But Mario Golf and Mario Strikers, I love Mario Strikers. Did not care for the one on the Switch. This was not fun to me. But one that you really can't screw up, even if you tried. I'm knocking on wood here. I really hope they don't screw it up. But there's supposedly a new Mario Baseball coming soon. Seems like a perfect summer game also. They usually have dropped these Mario sports games about every other year in the summer, around that June time frame. So if they're going to drop Mario Baseball, that would be awesome. They haven't released a new one since the Wii. The one on the GameCube is one of my favorite GameCube games of all time. So I'm definitely looking forward to having a new Mario Baseball game. I imagine they'll do the similar strategy that they've been doing, where they will release the game and then trickle out characters that have no reason to be DLC when they could have just been there from the beginning. They just kind of use this strategy to keep people invested in the game. I thought it was very stupid that Daisy was a DLC character for Mario Strikers. Daisy's such a core Mario character now. You can't just not put her in a game. So hopefully they don't make any kind of mistakes like that, and they just save the DLC characters for the random enemies or whatever they decide to do. But I'd be super excited for a new Mario Baseball. It's got online support. Hopefully it's got a story mode, because I really kind of like the story mode from Mario Baseball on the GameCube, where you're just collecting characters to add to your roster. It was super fun. Kind of keeping in line with Mario DLC and everything like that. I think we're finally going to get the announcement that Mario Party Superstars is getting new boards. And maybe new mini games also, but definitely new boards. There was kind of a rumor / data mine thing that happened shortly after the game came out, where people saw in the code that there was planned extra boards and everything. So I think maybe adding 2 or 3 more boards will help liven that game up, because I love Mario Party Superstars, but one of my biggest complaints with it is that there's just not a lot of board variety. Usually just find myself playing on 1 or 2 of those boards over and over again, so getting some more new ones in there would be great. And I guess also keeping with DLC conversation, I think it's a pretty safe bet we're going to see the next wave of Mario Kart 8 tracks get revealed here too, probably coming out by the end of February or sometime in March. They still have, including this wave I'm talking about, they have 3 waves of content they still have to put out by the end of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put one out in the spring and one in the summer, one in the fall, and then they're just kind of done with it. So I think we're getting close to the next Mario Kart DLC expansion. And then speaking of other expansions and everything, there's a lot of DLC stuff Nintendo has the opportunity to mess with here, and it's just about whether they decide to do it or not. We're also due for getting Splatoon 3's first major expansion. It's been over 6 months since the game came out, and I don't know if everyone's playing the game still as they were when it first came out. I know I'm not. I played the Splatfest and I kind of just dip out. I've never been one to play the story mode for Splatoon, so I've kind of my attention's being grabbed by other games at this point. But if a Splatfest comes up, I'm ready to dip back in. But they have said that there's going to be 2 years worth of support for the game, and that there is a major expansion planned. So I would not be surprised if we start hearing about that expansion pack coming up. And in an actual expansion pack, I think we're going to get the next wave of Nintendo 64 games coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service. I have no predictions really about what I think is going to show up. I just have a wish list, and I hope it includes Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Tooie, and Diddy Kong Racing. I know those are all rare games, which are like kind of on the backlist of stuff that can show up because of the rare situation with Microsoft. So hopefully those games will show up, but if I had to, I think we know about like just a handful of games that are still confirmed coming, like Pokemon Stadium, and I think there's another one, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But hopefully we get an announcement of more of that stuff so we can flesh out that library a little bit more, since I'm still paying like, what is it, $50 a year for it or something. So hopefully we get more of that. Well, everything we've talked about so far has been, it's still been kind of grounded. I don't think there's much reason to believe that some of that stuff can't happen or probably won't happen eventually. I do want to talk a little bit about stuff that's kind of like definitely more speculative and wishful thinking than some of the other things on the list. Specifically, I want to shout out Richard, who suggested that he wants a new Punch-Out game. I think I played Punch-Out on the Wii whenever that came out. It was really fun, very different from everything else I've played, so I would love a new Punch-Out game. And I know that it's kind of dated myself because I haven't really played the original Punch-Out games on the NES and Super Nintendo, but I've watched people play and they look really fun, and obviously modernizing that game and bringing it to the Switch would be a nice next release that Nintendo could have us looking forward to. I think we finally get GameCube remasters, hopefully. I don't think they're ever going to come to like the Switch Online service. It's just too much on there. But as Nintendo starts to shift their development from the Switch to whatever's coming up next from them, I feel like they're going to want to start trying to pad out the library of the Switch with some of these remasters of games that people have been really looking forward to. We've already talked about the Metroid trilogy, which was kind of like a GameCube and a Wii game, depending on which ones they decide to do. The long-rumored Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD coming to the Switch. Obviously, I would be super excited about that. I think that they should do that because they remastered those games for the Wii U, which was one of their worst-selling systems of all time, so a lot of people haven't got to experience how great their HD remakes of those games are. The only thing that's kind of disappointing is I'm about to beat Twilight Princess HD on the Wii U, so by the time that I finally get ready to beat this game, they would release it on the Switch, where it wouldn't take me as long to beat it. But, just this is how things go sometimes. I think that there is a chance we're going to get a new Mario game. I don't know if it's going to be a 2D or a 3D Mario. I feel like we're due for a new 2D. Obviously, I'm more of a 3D Mario guy. I think there's more magic and everything into those games than the 2D ones. So you can't really continue to reinvent the wheel with 2D Mario at this point. I don't feel like, especially whenever you put out all the tools for people to make their own Mario games. I'm not saying it's not possible. I just, off the top of my head, I can't picture it. But with 3D Mario, you've got a big, expansive way to make that game work, especially with the fact that you've got a movie coming out in April. So you can make the game a tie-in game that follows along the same story, or just, I don't know, a new 3D Mario game that kind of looks like the movie. There's a lot of potential there for them to do something great, and I think that it's been a while since we've had a brand new Mario game, that we should be getting something hopefully this year. And just a couple more to wrap things up. I think it would be really cool if some of these 3DS games like Kid Icarus Uprising, Legend of Zelda games like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask 3D, and A Link Between Worlds got remade for the Switch. I think it's entirely possible that they could do stuff like that, and those were great looking games on the 3DS, so imagining them in HD on the Switch just seems really cool. They would be able to, they're not games that heavily relied on using the 3D or the two screens, so you would have an easier time bringing those games over to the Switch. If there's other games that I'm missing that would be really cool to bring over, make sure you let me know down in the comments, because I've played a lot of 3DS games, and sometimes it's just hard to remember about a lot of the great ones, but I'm just a big Zelda guy, so obviously 3 of them had to be from the 3 main Zelda games from the 3DS should definitely find their way over to the Switch. And finally, it's the biggest wishful thinking thing of all time, and that is the announcement of new hardware for Nintendo. I don't think it's time to get an announcement about like what's next for the Switch. I don't know if that's a Switch 2 or, you know, Super Nintendo Switch or whatever they want to call it, but I just have a hard time believing that my current Switch, which is an OLED, the newer model one, is gonna be okay with running Tears of the Kingdom the way that they intended it to. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope that game is just super well optimized where I don't have to worry about this. But I'm always gonna think about what would this game look like on what's next, you know? This is kind of like with the Wii U with Breath of the Wild, when they announced that it was coming to the Switch, and obviously you could just tell that there were frame rate improvements and it just looked better. So if the next Switch is on the horizon and say Tears of the Kingdom is like it's a launch title, like it's going to be on there, like it's like, wow, it makes me not want to play it until I get the new hardware, or just play it twice, I guess. But this depends on how that works. But it would be super exciting to see new hardware. Maybe it isn't a new console. Maybe they announce like a Generation 2 Pro controller that has Hall effect joysticks on it, or new Joy-Cons, or not like new style of Joy-Cons, but like an updated design for the Joy-Cons, or something else. That Nintendo is always full of surprises, so you never know like what they're going to announce next. So it's always like leaving you up to this world of speculation. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little mini video talking about Nintendo Direct predictions. Obviously, the Direct happens today, 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully this video, everything goes well. This video is up well in advance before that comes out. And look forward to us giving our reactions to the Direct and our impressions and everything of everything that was shown, hopefully this evening. So stay on the lookout for that. If you enjoyed the video, again, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future content uploads from us. And hopefully you enjoyed the Nintendo Direct as much as I do, and we'll see you next time.